at you while you sleep, holding you, lost inside every breath you breathe. I don't wanna live a day without you. I just wanna be the one that makes you happy, happy. I don't wanna live a day without you. I just wanna be the one that makes you happy, happy. 1 minute more, 1,000 years, it's all the same to me. 'Cause I'm incomplete and I need you more.
Hey, I wasn't going to do another video today, especially since the one that I did earlier was like 18 minutes long, but I just feel like this is so bad, or I don't know if bad is, well, this has got me upset enough that I'm making a special video just for it. And I'm not going to say who wrote this, but this is under my belief in NDEs, near-death experience equals huge security blanket. This person writes, now this, in my video, I bring up again the subject of Jeannie Wiley, who in 1972, I think it's 72, it might be 74. Anyway, I could be wrong about both of those days, but in the early 70s was discovered that she had been held captive and basically in a harness, held in a harness in a potty chair most of the time. Sometimes her father would forget about her and she would be sitting in this potty chair all night. And then the nights that he didn't forget about her, he would bind her arms and legs and put her in a sleeping bag in a crib with like chicken wire over the top. The 2 windows she had in her room were covered, so she really didn't get much light coming in. She might have seen little glimpses of the sky through the cracks. She could hear maybe cars going by. She could hear distant voices maybe. This guy didn't like people in his family, his wife or his son, to talk, and he would get very angry and hostile with them if they talked. So when they did talk, they talked in very soft voices. There was no TV. He didn't like noise. There was no TV. There was no radio. The house was virtually silent, and when he did communicate with Jeannie, it was to growl at her through the door, or he'd hit her with a board. If she ever made any sound, he would hit her with a board. So she's discovered in this, she's lived through like age, I don't remember if she was 13 when they found her. I think she was 13, but I'm again not positive. She was around that age when they found her. She couldn't walk. She could barely walk. She had a funny walk because her muscles had not really quite formed right. She couldn't talk. She was terrified of dogs and cats. She didn't have language. So keeping that in mind, this is something that's been an outrage to me since I heard the story, and every now and then I think about it. You know, it's like one of those stories that you wish you never heard about because it never quite leaves you. Little reminders, like the latest one for me was the 3 women that were discovered after being held as sex slaves for 10 years. Basically just there for whenever their captors felt like it, I guess. And God did nothing. And I just got done watching a video today that, see if I can find it. It's just, see if I can find it. It's called The Goodness of God by Number One Son. It's powerful. This guy, I have several of his vids now that I have added to my favorite list. He makes very good, powerful videos, and this one is no exception. And he talks about the guy who rescued these 3 girls after they had been in this horrible situation for 10 years. And he's got a criminal record. And he talks about, the guy's criminal record. And funny thing, he's a hero. He rescued these 3 girls. But God, who supposedly all-knowing and all-powerful, just sat on his thumbs, da-da-da-da-da-da, every single day. If God can see everything, this is the point he makes in his video too. If God can see everything, he was there in the room every single day of those 10 years, watching those men, raping these poor women. And apparently there was physical abuse too, and I try to avoid the story because, as I said, stories tend to stick with me, like the story of Jeannie has stuck with me. I was a kid when I heard about this, and I still remember because I just think it's so horrific. So, I mention it again in my video. Belief in near-death experience is a huge security blanket. And this person writes, life is tough. We, I believe, endure suffering so we can learn lessons, help others, and try every day not to complain and whine about how unfair life is. That child was here to teach compassion. How can you know how she is today? Well, first of all, you can know how she is today just by looking it up on you just Google Jeannie Wiley, and just a little clicking on a few websites, you'll find out how she is today because it's right there on the internet, or you could probably find it on YouTube. You don't really have to go very far to find out that Jeannie Wiley lived in like 6 foster homes since her rescue, and since all the researchers got done trying to figure her out or help her. She was in like 6 foster homes. One of them was abusive to her. She is once again mute. She never got to have kids. She never got to probably have a boyfriend in her whole life. She never had a childhood. She never probably knew what it was like to have a single friend. She never got to go to any dances. She never got to... How long do we want the list to go? Has she ever gone to a movie theater? Hopefully, these homes, she's in an adult home for adults that need assistance. Hopefully they do stuff like that. Hopefully they get to go on field trips and have some fun and do things. But it's just like this poor woman's whole life was ruined because of her abusive father and this father in heaven who sat on his thumbs doing absolutely nothing. And she's here to say that the reason that Jeannie's life is what it is, and first of all, again, you can know how she is today just by looking a little bit online. Read about her. There's picture. I found a picture. She doesn't look like she's much different than she was when she was younger. But the whole sentence, that child was here to teach compassion. So what? She's like a human sacrifice to further the effort of teaching humans compassion. We as humans need other people to suffer and live hellish lives in order to learn what and how to be compassionate. We need other people to suffer to be compassionate. I think I could have learned compassion just by having a pet cat or a pet dog or anything. A fish jumps out of a fish bowl. What do? You scoop it up and put it back in the fish bowl. I'm sorry, that's compassion. It doesn't take a little child to be abused to the extent that Jeannie Wiley was. It doesn't take ruining somebody's life to teach. I'm sorry, I would rather not have somebody suffer just so I can be a better person. And it just floors me that this woman can think that some people are just put on this earth to suffer to help other people be better people. So all the starving children in the world, they're starving because we all need to learn how to be better, more compassionate people. All the people who are like these three women, kidnapped and have a major chunk of their lives taken from them so we can learn to be better people. It's probably because that ex-con who rescued them when God wouldn't, he probably needed to learn, have a lesson. That's probably all about teaching him a lesson. Yeah, God set it up for 10 years and basically took 10 years from these three women. I'm sorry, but you know, when I come across a Christian that has this kind of perception of life, it really makes me sick in my stomach. It's like this religion can make somebody actually think this. This is a warped way of looking at the world. This is just wrong. The same kind of outlook would say that the people in Oklahoma, that served God's purpose, that, you know, this huge tornado mowed down an elementary school. Oh, but there was a Bible that was discovered that was intact. A Bible that was like practically still spanking new, that was not touched by the tornado. That was a miracle, but this school full of elementary children getting mowed down by this F5 tornado, killing 7 little kids. You know, when you think about it, Almighty God, why couldn't he have dissipated the tornado before it hit the school? Or, you know, just had it slide a little bit over this way or this way, just to miss the school. Or you know how tornadoes can sometimes hop? You know, they go up in the air and then they come back down. I'm sure that an all-powerful God should be able to do that, right? Except maybe it's part of his plan that these little children should die. Maybe it's going to teach some people some compassion. You know, apparently Oklahoma needs a lot of lessons because they're getting a lot of tornadoes there. They must not be very compassionate people, and they just need more lessons than other people in other states. What a way to think. You know, the kids at, I'm trying to think of the name of that school now, the ones that got, I'm coming up with the wrong name in my head, so I won't even say it. But anyway, I'm floored at that kind of mentality. And this religion creates that kind of mentality. It's let's come up with justification for God's atrocities and God's inability to give a rat's ass about the suffering of little children, the suffering of old people that are languishing away in homes and nobody cares. There is so much suffering. There's so much unfairness in the world. Oh, but it's God's plan. It's all part of God has a higher purpose for that. It's going to help somebody down the road. That's disgusting. This is, you know, Christopher Hitchens says religion poisons everything. And there's so many levels to that. You know, when I first heard that phrase, and it's a famous phrase now, but when I first heard it, I'm like, yeah. It's like the longer I'm an atheist, the more I really think about the effect of religion on our society, the more I understand the depth of truth to that statement. It poisons people. It poisons how people think. It poisons their ability to process or even recognize an atrocity when they see it. They're busy going, oh, look, this Bible is intact. Isn't that wonderful? It's a sign. It's a sign. It's a little ray of sunshine in a bad day. Meanwhile, we've got these 23 people who are dead, and these little kids who are dead, and people lost everything. Oh, but it's going to teach a lesson to some people, or that God's doing it all for a reason. Oh, please. So anyway, I needed to rant about that. I just really needed to rant about that. That every now and then I get somebody saying something like this on my channel that just blows me out of the water. I'm just like, holy shit. Even when I was a Christian, I would never have thought that. I might have thought, why didn't God do anything? You know? And that's even when I was a Christian. So maybe I was just never cut out to be a Christian, because I would never have thought like this. If this is what a real Christian is like, maybe I never was a real Christian, because I never would have looked at a little child like Jeannie and what she went through and said, that child was here to teach compassion. Anyway, blood pressure needs to come down. Anybody watching, thanks for watching. Bye.